Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis fighting back against allegations that she benefited from a relationship with her lead prosecutor in the Trump Georgia probe, Nathan Wade, a man who she hired. Now, Willis was subpoenaed to appear in court next week as part of Wade's divorce case. But in a new filing, Fani Willis's attorney claims that Wade's estranged wife, quote, conspired with interested parties in the criminal election interference case to use the civil discovery process to annoy, embarrass, and oppress Willis. Willis's attorney did not directly acknowledge the allegation, but said, quote, because the parties agree their marriage is irretrievably broken, there is no information that Willis could provide that would be relevant. These allegations against Willis and Wade came in a court filing earlier this month by someone named Mike Roman. He is a former Trump 2020 campaign official who was indicted over his role in the fake electors plot. Roman alleges that Wade is having an affair with Willis and used money he billed the DA's office for his work on the case to take her on fancy vacations. It's complicated, but could be crucial. Roman's attorney has not yet provided direct evidence of any affair. The judge overseeing the Trump case did, though, set a hearing on all of this to consider the motion that Willis has put forward to quash this subpoena. Here to discuss all of this, legal analyst, former U.S. Attorney for the Middle District of Georgia, Michael Moore. It is super complicated, but I just wonder, Michael.
It is complicated.
I wonder the big picture here. Is the entire Georgia RICO case against Donald Trump now in peril?
Well, I'm glad to be with you. It's not in peril. This is not something that I think on its own will be detrimental or completely destructive of the case. I think what has happened is you now have a real optics problem for the district attorney herself, which is never good for a prosecutor, as she may be putting credibility questions at play. And frankly, some issues may come up later if there are questions about the public funds that she used to pay Mr. Wade and the purpose of that, whether or not they were legitimately earned and that type of thing. I think it's more likely that the judge will make short work of this at a hearing. He'll ask the filing attorney, the defense attorney, to put up what evidence they have of this, which I think will include some information from a sealed record in the divorce proceeding of Mr. Wade and his estranged wife, and will probably ask the district attorney to state in her place if the allegations or any of the allegations are true. The issue of her personal life and her, who she chooses to see or date, frankly, I don't think that's of much moment at this time. The question is now whether or not she hired somebody who was not experienced. Does he, in fact, have a felony prosecution background to be handling this type and this magnitude of a case, and whether or not the monies paid, the public monies paid, were appropriately paid.
Right, and we're talking about north of $650,000 paid to him so far in this case. It's taxpayer money. Some of the great local reporting done there by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution talks about what she could face, though. I mean, this is the DA in charge of this case, and their reporting is that if Trump's, not Trump's, but this fellow defendant of Trump's attorneys here prevail in all of this, Willis could be charged with honest services fraud and potentially prosecuted, ironically, under a federal racketeering statute. Is that possible?
I'm not going to say that things aren't possible. I think that's far down the road, and we don't know enough about the facts yet. What we do know is that she has paid Mr. Wade approximately or almost 10 times as much as she has paid another one of the special assistants who's a longtime lawyer and RICO expert here in the state. Her other special assistant, she's paid Mr. Wade about 5 or 6 times as much as she's paid this other special assistant. So those disparities are going to have to be explained. I haven't seen the record, but the reporting is that there's one entry even where he's paid for a 24-hour period at a significant hourly rate. And so those are questions she's going to have to ask.
Okay.
No judge wants a courtroom to become a circus. And the problem with these kinds of allegations is that it has a tendency to make a case a circus as opposed to the facts of the case. That's probably one of the reasons I've suggested that she should just recuse herself, answer the questions directly, recuse herself, and let somebody else come in and take over the prosecution of the case.
I do want people to hear her defense. She spoke about this publicly Sunday. Here it is.
All 3 of these special counselors are superstars. But I'm just asking God, is it that some will never see a black man as qualified, no matter his achievements? What more can one achieve? The other two have never been judges, but no one questions their credentials.
She is trying to have a subpoena quashed so she won't have to answer questions in the civil divorce proceeding that could tie to this bigger case. Do you think she succeeds in that motion to quash the subpoena?
I don't think she does. I mean, I think, frankly, she's got herself right in the middle of that case. I think there are questions anytime you have a divorce case about division of property and marital assets and all those things, alimony, all that gets considered by a court, no matter what someone may file in their initial papers. But to see in a case like this where she makes the allegations that he's been questioned because he may be an African-American male, I think it misses the mark. I don't think you can use race as a sword to attack somebody clearly, but nor do I think that you can use it as a shield to hide behind, to say that simply because you may be African American that your activities are beyond any inquiry, especially when these allegations are made. And I think that's the line she's crossed. It strikes me that these are very similar tactics to what we even see with Trump, and that is that instead of facing the allegations head on and simply giving a answer of yes or no, this is true, or no, it's not true, or yes, I did this and it was a mistake and I'm sorry, and what can I do to make it right? Instead, we see now it's an attack on the people who are questioning or raising the issue for further investigation. And I think that sounds a lot to me like maybe a concession that some of the allegations in the motion must be true.
We'll know pretty soon, given there's going to be a hearing on this. Michael Moore, thank you.